From recent big losses to losing motivation to fight, here is why some people are wondering, is Lomachenko's career over? Vasiliy Lomachenko is one of the most prolific fighters in boxing. After winning gold at the Olympics several years in a row and going pro in 2013, he would go on to have an extremely successful career in professional boxing. He has won over 97% of his fights and has an impressive 11 knockout wins under his belt. Unfortunately, it seems like Lomachenko has fallen on some hard times recently. After a big loss and missed career opportunities, it seems like the boxing star might be eyeing retirement pretty soon. Let's talk about what is going on that has fans wondering if his career is finally over. The first nail in the coffin was Lomachenko's loss against Devin Haney in 2023. This loss would cost Lomachenko his chance at the lightweight title and would see Haney retain his undisputed lightweight crown. The loss would come by an extremely close unanimous decision and was a major blow to Lomachenko. Lomachenko would start out the fight aggressively and use his signature combination of feints, footwork, and head movements to close the distance. This was not enough to knock Haney off his game, who was able to land powerful jabs and body shots on Lomachenko. The blows added up, and the match was called in Haney's favor.
Devin the Dream Haney! Devin Haney is...
Haney has said himself that Lomachenko is a future Hall of Famer, but his performance in the fight has many wondering what boxing has left to offer him. Lomachenko wasn't happy after the fight and stated in a post-fight interview that, "I don't want to talk about the decision." While no one would accuse Lomachenko of being a sore loser, it was clear that missing the chance at the title had a major effect on him. Their results of the match were actually highly controversial. In fact, immediately following the results, Lomachenko's manager reportedly announced that his team planned to appeal the decision. Needless to say, they weren't planning on accepting the decision sitting down. Fans were also in agreement that he was robbed of his win against Haney. An even bigger blow is the fact that this would effectively end any chances of becoming the undisputed champ for Lomachenko. This was one of his long-term career goals, which has seemingly been snatched away from him. He has gone on record stating that he fully expected the Haney fight to be his last chance to fight for an undisputed championship, and was in tears after the decision was announced. And even though this is not necessarily a career-ending loss, for a fighter like Lomachenko, this was one of the few plateaus left for him to scale. It seems like Lomachenko has accepted the decision, as he stated in an interview that he believes the rematch will never happen.
What do you hope to achieve from appealing? Is it a rematch you want?
First of all, we're not going to give that rematch. So we don't know. We have to see it. We have to talk to promoter.
He's probably right, especially when you consider how little Haney has to gain from a rematch. The likelihood of a rematch decreased even further as Haney began to take exception with the way Lomachenko's team is contesting the decision. Interestingly enough, Haney was actually fined $400,000 out of his commission for the fight due to shoving Lomachenko during a pre-fight press conference. This added to the bad blood between the two and cemented the fact that a rematch is almost guaranteed to not happen. Lomachenko has accepted this and is content with the fact that everyone who saw the fight knows who the real winner was. Of course, in his mind, his career is still far from over. In spite of claims made by Haney before the fight that he would cause Lomachenko to retire, it seems like he has no plans of quitting anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that his career will remain the same going forward. Major losses like this have a way of affecting fighters later on. Boxing is an extremely demanding sport to begin with, and many fighters begin to lose the motivation to compete after big losses or a long string of success. It doesn't help that the world of professional boxing has been taking the back seat to more popular sports like UFC. In fact, the sport's reputation seemed to take a big hit after the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight in 2017. Many people believed that the matchup was not in the spirit of sport, and that it felt like more of a shameless pay-per-view cash grab. With YouTube stars like Jake Paul and KSI trying to break into the world of professional boxing, it's likely that the ire of fans will only grow over the state of the sport. Classic boxing fans seem to take exception with YouTube stars and influencers worming their way into their favorite sport. While these types of fights are good for the sport's bottom line, it is possible that many fans will be alienated in the future. In addition, Fans of the sport are frequently complaining about inept judging, the growing casual fan base, and the lack of a single unified governing body. Safe to say that unlike the UFC, fans are starting to believe that the glory days of boxing are behind them. Lomachenko could become a relic of better days in the sport before too long. With all of this going on, it may be easy for him to make the decision to start wrapping up his career in professional boxing sometime soon. Retirement for a boxer is sometimes quite different than what it would be for someone working a typical job. Many people are looking forward to retirement and enjoying time to themselves. For boxers who have lost the motivation to fight, retirement can be an uncertain and frightening thing. In addition to having to worry about money, many boxers find it hard to adjust to life outside of the ring. Because of this, it may take a while before Lomachenko fully decides to hang up his gloves for good. But many people already see his loss against Haney as the writing on the wall. With a new generation of fighters being ushered in, the lightweight division is a much different place than when Lomachenko started his career. He now finds himself suddenly the old man in the division of a sport that is constantly evolving to appeal to younger demographics. With the growing popularity of influencer matches, it remains to be seen if a classic fighter like Lomachenko will be able to adapt. This was apparent in his fight against Haney, who is noticeably larger and younger. That being said, Lomachenko's performance in the fight was praised, with many noting how good of a fight he put up against a younger opponent. Unfortunately for Lomachenko, and many fighter in professional boxing, time is his worst enemy. Going into his fight with Haney, he was 35 years old. While this is far from old outside of the world of boxing, in a sport where new competitors in their 20s are making their debuts, there's no doubt that Lomachenko is starting to feel his age in the ring. On average, professional boxers tend to start eyeing retirement around age 37. By then, most fighters have had a successful career, and their bodies are beginning to show the consequences of a career in the ring. It may only take one more big loss to convince him that it's time to retire and find out what's next for him in his life. No matter what he decides to do, he has already had an extremely successful career that he can always look back and be proud of. It wouldn't surprise many fans if he decided that he has done enough and no longer has any interest in fighting anymore. This is extremely common with fighters in professional boxing who simply lose the motivation to keep up the strain it takes to compete. It's even more common for fighters to lose interest in boxing after a big loss. Lomachenko went quiet after his loss against Haney, leaving many people to wonder what is next for his career. Only time will tell if he is able to come back from this loss, or if his time as a boxing superstar is over. So from recent big losses to losing motivation to fight, here is why some people are wondering, is Lomachenko's career over?